Hello and welcome back. Jacinda has come such a long way from the difficult circumstances she once faced, and Michael played a real role in helping her find stability and kindness when she needed it most. Their connection started with that sense of rescue and grew into something that looked promising and full of possibility. Yet lately I have noticed the fear in her growing stronger with each new revelation about what Michael is planning. It is not the simple worry of someone new to his world anymore. It is a deeper unease that comes from seeing plans take on darker tones she never expected. The way she hesitates now, the way her expressions shift when the conversation turns to family matters or power plays, tells me she is starting to question how far things might go. This fear is not just personal. It is tied to the larger web of control and consequences that Michael seems to be weaving, and it is pulling her into a place of real internal conflict that feels fresh and compelling. What stands out most in the latest developments is Michael's growing focus on gaining an edge over Willow through some very calculated moves. He has his suspicions about Brook Lynn's possible connection to that car accident involving Curtis and Jordan, and instead of letting it rest or handling it quietly, he appears ready to use that information in a way that could upend lives. The idea seems to be sharing it with Chase in hopes of breaking the trust in his marriage to Brook Lynn. If Chase were to pull away, it might create an opening for old feelings with Willow to come back into play, and any resulting public attention could damage Willow's standing in Congress, or her personal stability. It is a strategy aimed at control, at adjusting the balance of power in ways that serve Michael's goals, and it is the kind of layered scheming that adds real heat to the story. I keep asking myself how this will ripple outward, because it is not just affecting Willow. It is drawing Chase and Jacinda right into the middle of it all, whether they want to be there or not. The timing with the adoption of Phoebe makes everything feel even more charged. Brook Lynn and Chase are in the middle of something so hopeful and pure, building a family and giving that little one a stable home filled with love. It is one of those story threads that warms the heart because it represents new beginnings and the kind of future we all root for in these characters we have come to care about. Yet Michael's plans could cast a shadow over that process, threatening the very stability the adoption is meant to create. Jacinda sees this clearly, and it is breaking her heart in a way that is different from the usual dramas we have watched over the years. She does not want any part in ruining Brook Lynn's dream of motherhood, and above all, she wants to protect Phoebe from any fallout. This protective instinct is becoming a defining part of who Jacinda is right now, and it is creating a beautiful contrast to the darker elements swirling around her. It shows real growth in her character, a willingness to put the well-being of an innocent child ahead of loyalty or convenience. And that feels like a meaningful shift from some of the quicker, more self-serving choices we have seen in past arcs. As Jacinda's fear continues to rise, there is this new shock element around the way Michael is approaching power and control. It feels like an obsession that is growing stronger, a drive to adjust outcomes and pull strings in ways that affect multiple people at once. He is not just focused on one goal. He seems to be thinking several steps ahead, using the situation with Brook Lynn and Chase as a way to reach Willow and whatever advantage that might bring. This is pulling Chase into potential heartbreak and Jacinda into moral territory she never imagined when she first accepted help from Michael. The ripple effects are everywhere, and it is the kind of interconnected storytelling that makes the show so addictive. I find myself wondering how much more Jacinda can take before the weight of these secrets becomes too heavy, and how the power dynamics will shift once everything starts to come into the open. The moment Jacinda turns to Chase for advice marks a real turning point. She is seeking clarity, hoping perhaps that talking to him will help her sort through the unease she felt after hearing Michael outline his thoughts on the plan. What she finds instead is confirmation of just how dark and far-reaching those intentions have become. Learning the full picture, the way exposing Brook Lynn could lead to the marriage unraveling and the adoption process being thrown into chaos, must feel like the ground shifting beneath her feet. It validates every worry she has been carrying and forces her to see Michael's actions in a new, harsher light. This confirmation is sparking changes in Jacinda that feel bold and even a little unpredictable. She is starting to reconsider her place in all of this, making adjustments to how she responds and what she is willing to go along with. These shifts are not small. They carry the weight of someone who has decided her values, especially around protecting Phoebe and respecting Brook Lynn's chance at motherhood, matter more than staying silent. In my years of following General Hospital, I have seen plenty of power struggles and family secrets come and go. But this one feels distinct because of the way Jacinda's compassion is intersecting with everything. In older storylines, characters often stayed locked into loyalty or revenge cycles without much room to pause and consider the innocent lives caught in the crossfire. Here, Jacinda's desire to shield Phoebe and preserve Brook Lynn's happiness could become the element that breaks the pattern. I personally think her growing changes might lead her toward quiet but meaningful actions, perhaps finding ways to soften the impact or even confide in someone who can help steer things differently. It could create unexpected alliances or force Michael to confront the human cost of his plans in ways he has not had to before. Of course, I could be reading too much into the signs, and the writers may have surprises that take us in completely new directions, but that possibility is exactly what keeps the excitement alive for longtime viewers like me. The emotional weight of all this is what makes the story so gripping right now. Jacinda's fear is not abstract. It shows up in the small moments. The way she pulls back or asks careful questions, the way her hope from earlier days collides with the reality of what she is learning. Michael's drive for control is adding pressure that touches everyone, from Chase's potential heartbreak to Willow's position and Brook Lynn's family dreams. Yet through it all, the focus on Phoebe as this symbol of innocence and new beginnings keeps reminding us what is truly at stake. It is the kind of balance the show does so well, mixing high-stakes scheming with heartfelt human concerns, and it has me more invested than I have been in quite some time. What comes next feels wide open in the best way. Will Jacinda's changes lead her to take a stand that surprises everyone, including herself? How will the confirmation of Michael's plans affect her relationship with him going forward? Could her protective feelings for Phoebe become the spark that brings more light into these dark corners? Or will the power adjustments Michael is pushing create even bigger ripples? These questions linger because the storytelling has built them so carefully, layer by layer, and I know the answers will bring more drama that feels both surprising and true to the characters we know. As a longtime fan, I appreciate how the show continues to explore these themes of family, loyalty, protection, and personal growth in ways that still feel fresh after all these years. The performances make every hesitation and every quiet realization land with real impact, and that is what keeps pulling me back. The heat of this storyline is only building, and I have a strong sense that the coming episodes will deliver moments that stay with us. Jacinda's journey from fear to possible action, Michael's tightening grip on control, the way Chase and Brook Lynn's world could be tested, and Willow's place in the middle of it all create a web that feels alive and full of possibility. It is drama that respects the history of the show while adding new depth through characters like Jacinda, whose evolving perspective brings something special. Jacinda's journey has always carried this undercurrent of gratitude mixed with growing doubt. Michael helped her when she had nowhere else to turn, lifting her from a hard life on the streets into something that felt safe. Yet every new detail she learns about his plans, especially the way he intends to use his suspicions about Brook Lynn and that car accident to fracture her marriage to Chase, pushes Jacinda further from that earlier trust. The scheme to expose Brook Lynn, hoping it will send Chase running toward Willow and create a scandal that weakens Willow's position, is the kind of calculated move that once might have seemed strategic. Now, it simply looks cruel, especially while Brook Lynn and Chase are in the middle of adopting Phoebe. Jacinda sees the little one caught in the middle of adult games, and that vision is sparking the changes we are watching in her. She does not want to be part of anything that could destroy Brook Lynn's chance at motherhood or threaten Phoebe's new beginning. That protective instinct is becoming her new obsession, and it is one that could override everything else. If Jacinda does cross the line and betray Michael, the events that follow are bound to feel wild and unpredictable in the best soap tradition. She has already gone to Chase seeking answers, and that single step confirmed the darkest parts of Michael's thinking. From there, the dominoes could fall quickly. Perhaps she shares just enough with Chase to make him question what is really happening, or maybe she finds a quiet way to warn Brook Lynn without Michael knowing. Either path would set off a chain of reactions that no one, least of all Michael, saw coming. The adoption process could suddenly face new scrutiny or unexpected support. Willow's world might shift in ways that actually strengthen her instead of weakening her. And Michael, who has been so focused on adjusting the balance of power through these maneuvers, would suddenly find his own plans unraveling from the inside. It would be the kind of crazy, layered fallout that keeps us all guessing episode after episode, and it would prove that Jacinda's changes are not small adjustments, but a complete reordering of her priorities. What makes this possibility so compelling is how different it feels from the betrayals we have seen in the show's long history. In the past, when schemes collapsed, it was usually because of family members turning on one another or old enemies striking back. Here, the person who could bring Michael down is the one he brought into his confidence most recently, the outsider who once owed him everything. That irony adds real emotional weight. Michael's growing obsession with controlling outcomes, with pulling strings to affect Willow and everyone connected to her, would be the very thing that isolates him. Jacinda's decision to put Phoebe and Brooklyn's happiness first would expose how hollow that control really is. I keep thinking that if this betrayal happens, it will not just end one plan. It could force Michael to face the human cost of his choices in a way that no courtroom battle or family argument ever has. The shock on his face when he realizes who turned against him would be unforgettable, and it would mark a real shift in how we see his character moving forward. At the same time, Jacinda's own transformation would stand as proof of the new changes the story is exploring. She started as someone rescued and grateful, but she's becoming someone willing to risk everything to protect a child and a dream of family that does not even belong to her. That evolution feels earned and deeply human. It also carries a kind of hope that balances the darker elements. Even while Michael's power plays create chaos, Jacinda's choice could help preserve something good, like Phoebe's chance at stability with Brooklyn and Chase. The new obsession she seems to be developing, this fierce need to shield the innocent, could become the force that rights some of the wrongs Michael has set in motion. It is the sort of character turn that reminds me why I still watch after all these years. The show keeps finding ways to surprise us while staying true to the core idea that compassion can matter as much as any scheme.